Hi, this is Mark from eReplacementParts.com. In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the paddles and scraper on a Toro single-stage snowblower. Impeller paddles and scrapers are the most commonly replaced parts on a single-stage snowblower. On your Toro machine, the paddle is made of rubber. It has a little indicator hole on the side of the paddle. When you wear the paddle down to or past that indicator hole, you'll know it's time to replace the paddle. The scraper, located down here, is made out of a hard plastic. The scraper will wear at about the same rate as the paddle. When it's time to replace the paddles, more than likely it's time to replace the scraper as well. The paddles are secured to the snowblower by these hex bolts and nuts here, and these special fasteners and another hex nut here. So we'll remove those now. These special fasteners can be a little more tricky to remove simply because you don't have a lot of clearance in the snowblower to get to them. So you just have to kind of work your way in with a wrench. Some needle nose pliers can be helpful to remove the fasteners and just work through it that way. Okay, we've got all the fasteners removed from this paddle. You can pull it off the machine. And here's the second paddle. Two things we'll notice on the paddle. First, here's that indicator hole. You can see I was just worn to it on my snowblower, so it was time to replace the paddles. Second, on the center fastening holes on the paddle, there's some little metal spacers. You'll need to remove those spacers from the paddle and reuse them when you put your new paddles on. With the paddles removed, this is a good time to replace the scraper, as we'll have more access to it. The scraper is held in place by 3 hex bolt and nut combinations, so I'll remove those now. With all of the fasteners removed, now I can remove the scraper. Now we'll replace the scraper. Toro single-stage snowblowers only use a few different scrapers and paddles. To ensure that you get the proper parts for your machine, take your machine's model number and punch it into the search feature at eReplacementParts.com. We'll start by installing the scraper on the right side of the impeller opening. You'll notice on the right side there's a little tab that the scraper needs to go underneath. So we'll thread that under there first. And then the scraper just fits onto the lip on the front of the impeller opening. Once that's in place, just line up the holes for the fasteners, and we can replace the fasteners. With the scraper installed, now we can move on to the paddles. We'll start by taking those little spacers that we removed earlier and placing them into the new paddles. Okay, now we'll place the first paddle into the machine. We simply need to align the center fasteners into the impeller holder on the machine, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and install the nuts and bolts here just so it's not moving around on us when we move to the edges. So I've got the fasteners in the center of the paddle. They're only tight and finger tight at this point though, so I can still move the paddle around. Now we'll move to the edges. These ones are a little trickier, again just because of the limited clearance we have. So I'll start by putting the fastener into the new paddle. Press it in as far as I can into that hole. You may want to use a pair of pliers again to kind of pull it through. Make sure you do not damage the threads. Okay, now we'll just thread those into the holes on the impeller holder. And I'll start with the top one with the first nut. Okay, the bottom one's the real tricky one. Here, pretty much your only option is to hold the nut with a pair of needle nose pliers, place it behind the impeller holder, push the bolt through the hole on the impeller holder, and thread the nut on. It may take you a few tries on this one. Once you have the bolt started, you can put your wrench on to finish it up. And then you just repeat this process on the other side. And with that, we have our new paddles and scraper installed. We hope you found this video helpful. If so, please feel free to leave us a comment or ask a question.